If I'm being completely honest, that might have just been the craziest and most entertaining first rounds of the NBA playoffs I've witnessed in a very long time, and with it came tons of blatant revelations. Some teams thrived under pressure while others floundered. Some players exceeded expectations and others fell short. And all of that leads us to today's video. Today we will be discussing the 8 biggest winners and losers of the first round of the playoffs this year, with the winners obviously being the ones that benefited the most, and the losers hurting their teams and individual reputations in the process. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but it also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting with our first big winner of the first round of the 2025 NBA playoffs, we have Julius Randle of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Julius Randle entered the playoffs with just about as negative of a playoff reputation as a star player can have. He's a multiple-time All-NBA and All-Star player who has never had a single good playoff series in his life, shooting abysmally from the floor and from 3 in each of his 3 previous series that he played with the New York Knicks, and crumbling when his team needed him most. So this year, facing off against a hot Lakers squad, he was desperately needed, and he finally managed to come through and play how he has shown that he can play time and time again in the regular season. Everyone expected the Lakers to win that series, so for the Wolves to pull off a comfortable series victory as the 6th seed, Randle played a major role in that success. He abused Lakers small ball lineups using his strength inside to bully weaker defenders, his jumper was falling, and he didn't force things or try to do too much. On the series as a whole, he was a pretty consistent scorer, averaging about 22.6 points per game, shooting 48% from the field and 39% from 3, which are all playoff career bests for a series by a wide margin, and if he can keep this up, the Wolves may be able to make even more noise. Now for the first big loser of the first round, we have Damian Lillard of the Milwaukee Bucks. Lillard just has not been able to catch a break since arriving in Milwaukee. Last year, he was hobbled during their first round playoff series, and this year, he suffered blood clotting issues that held him out in the weeks leading up to the playoffs, and then on top of that, he was also clearly not 100% healthy for this series when he returned to the court against the Pacers, but it came to an end in Game 4 when he also unfortunately tore his Achilles, which is now going to set back the remainder of his career in a big way, especially at his age. The Bucks traded for Damian Lillard to try to win championships, and it's looking like the pairing of him and Giannis Antetokounmpo are going to fail to win a single playoff series together, with big changes possibly coming this offseason, so you can't help but feel bad for how things played out. Now for the next big winner of the first round, we have Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks. Brunson and the Knicks had a very tough first round test against a young and hungry Detroit Pistons squad who were getting their first taste of playoff basketball as a young core together. There was definitely times where the Pistons looked like the better team in that series in a back and forth bout, and it was must-see TV every time because it was so competitive, but ultimately Detroit's inexperience and Brunson's elite ability to take over down the stretch of games proved to be the difference, and time again Brunson came through. Brunson was named the Clutch Player of the Year this season for a reason, and he scored more fourth quarter points than anyone else in the first round this year, with the biggest and most epic game winner in Game 6 to send Detroit home. There was some talk that Cade Cunningham was coming for the title of best point guard in the East, and I have no doubt that he will continue to get better and better, but that title firmly belongs to Brunson still after his dominance. Now for the next loser of the first round, we have Luka Doncic of the Los Angeles Lakers. Luka has been the biggest story in the NBA for a few months now, ever since he was inexplicably traded away from the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison has continually repeated the fact that he did it because he believes that defense wins championships, which I still don't think is a good excuse for how he went about things at all, nor do I believe that his actions were justified in any way, but the Lakers just got upset in their first round series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Luka Doncic's defense was taken advantage of big time along the way. I mean, I was watching Jaden McDaniels blow by Luka, and Jaden McDaniels does not blow by anybody. Whether you believe it's fair or not, that trade is going to continue to highlight Luka's shortcomings on defense from here on out, so it's on him to improve his conditioning and do whatever he can to become more of a plus on that end. Otherwise, the conversations are going to continue to linger about it. Now back to the next big winner of the first round, we have Jimmy Butler of the Golden State Warriors. Jimmy Butler has been one of the league's biggest playoff risers of the last 5 years, dominating countless series while in Miami, helping lead them to the NBA Finals twice. He and the Heat were unfortunately unable to capture an NBA title in either of those two appearances, and the further into Butler's career that he gets, the hungrier he is to win it all. So when the Heat, for a third offseason in a row, did nothing to improve the roster, Butler grew frustrated with Miami's front office and demanded a trade. Demanding a trade in his case was definitely reasonable and justified in my opinion, all things considered, but it's also true that when you go about things the way that Butler did, there's an added pressure on you to deliver when it matters most. And Butler definitely did that against the 2-seed Houston Rockets, helping his Warriors team pull off the first round upset. Since his arrival in Golden State, the Warriors have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA, and his presence now has them looking like actual title contenders. As for the next loser of the first round, we have Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets. Alternatively, this series really answered a lot of questions about what the Rockets need to do moving forward to continue progressing in the right direction, and Jalen Green is not going to like those answers. Since he was drafted second overall back in 2021, he can accurately be described as incredibly streaky, with times where he does look like an electrifying Elite 3-level scorer who can fill it up quick, and then he'll go more stretches where he shoots the team out of games and makes bad decisions on the ball. He's not efficient enough or consistent enough to be trusted as a go-to scoring option on a contender, and his defense gets taken advantage of, making it even more difficult to trust him when his shot isn't falling. And this series against Golden State pretty much summed up the Jalen Green experience to a T. He had one incredible game where he put up 38 points in Game 2, and the rest of the series was filled with complete stinkers, scoring fewer than 10 points in 3 of the games. The Rockets have an incredibly deep team and assets galore, so they could very well go star hunting on the trade market this summer, and in all likelihood, Green is going to be one of the pieces at the forefront of their trade offers, because finding a true star player capable of consistently being a number 1 scoring option is priority number 1 for them right now. Now on to our final big winner of the first round, we have Tyrese Haliburton of the Indiana Pacers. Haliburton gets a bad rap on social media, being pretty harshly called a frontrunner at times, and sometimes his antics get called corny, and on top of that, the NBA player poll that was released just before the playoffs named him the most overrated player in the league by his peers. Last year's Pacers run to the conference finals came with a bit of an asterisk, as they got to face a Bucks team without Giannis or Lillard half the time in the first round, and then a Knicks team with a hobbled Jalen Brunson in the second round. So this year, facing off against the Bucks again meant that Giannis was coming for revenge, but that revenge never came because Haliburton led the way to a comfortable series win. Haliburton once again dialed into his elite playmaking, averaging about 12 assists per game in this series. He did an excellent job spreading the wealth, getting everyone involved, and he hit countless big shots when needed, including the series winner at the end of their elimination game. And finally, we'll finish things off with the final loser of the first round being the Grizzlies' Big Three as a whole. The players I'm referring to, of course, are Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane, and after they got swept in the first round by the Oklahoma City Thunder, it seems as though this group has hit their ceiling. Jaren's shot creation struggles to translate in the playoffs, Morant is too easily held in check because of his struggles as a three-point shooter, Thunder, Bane unfortunately shrunk big time under the bright lights, and to demonstrate just how bad it is for this trio in the series, Scottie Pippen Jr. actually ended up being the Grizzlies' leading scorer in the series, not any of those three supposed all-star caliber talents. Morant may have gotten hurt and missed Game 4, but the series was already over at that point. Bane shot a miserable 31% from the field and 22% from 3 in the series. Jaren Jackson Jr. shot a miserable 37% from the field and 27% from 3 in the series, and without a truly elite scorer to rely upon when the going gets tough, they were swiftly disposed of by the #1 seed Thunder, led by the MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This type of series could be what sparks some big changes being made this summer, and there's no guarantee that this trio will remain intact moving forward because of it. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below who your biggest winners and losers were. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.